Okay, what's up guys, and welcome back to another video. So it is time to finally sink my teeth back into the S13 and get some progress done on that car. If you guys have been following the channel for a little bit, buying this car sort of kickstarted me wanting to do YouTube again. Then I kind of got carried away with the paint and the livery on the 180 and getting that ready and going out and doing events in it. Because that is my seat time car, that is my competition car, that is pretty much the car that I would do all my driving in. So that one has to be running at all times. The S13 is sort of like a little side project that I can get to whenever I have free time. So let's actually do a quick recap on where the S13 currently is and then what we're going to be getting into later today. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but to me that is actually so close to being finished, it is not even funny. However, what I want to get done today is to get the car rolling and on the ground. As you would have seen in one of my previous videos, I have the engine for it now, and I want to get that into the car. So as you guys can see, the car is on axle stands, it's not going anywhere, still needs all its rolling driveline components. There's just not enough room to get a crane in there. Obviously this car is still jacked up as well. I don't really want to move that, it's just too, I'd rather just leave it. So the best option is, well, I need to get this thing rolling anyway. We've got a fair bit of room behind it, so once it's rolling we can push this back and then we should have ample enough room to get this motor onto a crane and into this car. So we've got all the parts, S13 lower control arms with S13 ball joints. We've got some Magic modified knuckles. So these are a different knuckle to what I'm running in the 180. I will go into another video about why I'm running different knuckles in different cars. You guys are going to be blown away at what this car is going to be capable with a modified knuckle, a stock LCA and straight caster arms. The straight caster arms are just over here. We've also just got to put the axles in, we've got to put the camber arms and the toe arms in, and then that'll be the rear done. We've also got to undo these factory 12mm tie rods. Once we get them out, we can bang the 14mm tie rods in. We should be right to get this car rolling. We're also going to do the same trick. So we're going to take one of these spaces out and we're going to cut a really small amount of it. And that way we're going to use it as basically an offset to push the caster arm over. It's going to give us that little bit of extra caster on rim kind of clearance. We're going to be leaving the factory sway bar in. Might modify that. I'm just going to have to see how it all test fits up with the spacers and the wheel combo I'm going to be running. But the most crazy part is this is a factory steering rack and I am not going to be moving it. There is not going to be bringing any of this rack forward in the slightest bit. So the main goal with this S13 behind me is to sort of follow a traditional Kansai inspired build where they generally take on a less is more approach. So the idea behind running factory LCAs, not modified, running a factory sway bar, factory steering rack location, and just modifying the knuckle and even using a straight caster arm to be able to do this. Obviously I can't show you any footage of myself driving like that. I still have a long way to go. Ken has been driving for a very long time and has sort of perfected the art of the less is more approach. Why would you want to spend more time and money building a car when you could be spending a lot less, having better results, learning to become a better driver with a much simpler, much less expensive build. So that's the idea behind the car and the build anyway. I still have a long way to go perfecting my own driving technique. So the proof is there with Ken and drivers all around the world that you can drive really aggressively with a super basic car. So let's get into today's video and start getting this car rolling and on the ground. So as you guys can see, we have one side all finished now. So we tightened up the diff's all installed. We got the half shaft in, we got the traction arm, tow arm, camber arm all in. We've got the half shaft done up, we've got the brake calipers done up, and now we've got a rim on. I'm not going to film the other side because obviously you guys just saw me putting on one side, so that's just completely pointless. The only thing I need to point out, so bear in mind the wind and the rain at the moment, guys, this is a 265 and this is the size tyre we're going to be running on the rear of the car. As you can see, it's kind of Mexican at the moment. The best part about using second-hand arms is that it looks like that's pretty much at zero camber and a neutral tow. So that means they're all perfectly set up already. The only thing we have to do is we'll check the height. That should sit pretty nicely once we get the car on the ground. And then I won't show you guys in this video, but I do know a trick. What we'll do is we'll bow this out around the arch here, so that'll actually sit nicely on the edge of the tyre. We shouldn't be running anything bigger than a 265 and this 9.5 with a low offset, so that we'll always have that sort of like good perfect fitment set for the rear. That was actually like 10 times easier having to put the other side in without having to actually film anything, so I'm quite happy with that. It's all obviously bolted up. The funny thing is this fender actually sits like kind of flush-ish, you know, once that's all bolted down. So obviously this is a 50mm fender, whereas this side is a 30mm fender. But firstly, we've got to do the mod to the caster arm, so we're going to cut these down and then these can go straight back in the car. So yeah, if you guys haven't seen this trick before, basically that's the outcome. So we keep a little bit so that the bracket isn't bolting up against the rose joint, and then this part here acts like a spacer. This thing comes across. However, like in real life, it looks staunch. Like, does anybody want to buy the 180? Because I'm over it. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm now in love with this S13. Honestly, it looks so tough and it's so bunky. and it's just everything I want from this car, you know, like just to look tough and be driven aggressively, but to be the biggest piece of shit just slapped together and like, oh man, I'm so happy with it. Obviously, like, we still got a lot of dialing in to do. A lot of that we're gonna do when we get to the wheel alignment. So we'll set all the camber front and rear, we'll set the toe front and rear, we'll set the caster in the front. We'll do a bit of playing around with the wheel lean. We'll do that in another episode. So we'll make sure we've got a real good contact patch and that our camber and caster are roughly set where we need them to be. And then we can just even things out when we get to a wheel alignment. I think that's about it for this video, guys. So in the next one, I'll be putting obviously the motor into the S13. We'll get the drive line in, and then we can start working our way into getting this thing ready for its first fire up and just tidying up all the little things along as we go. We still got a lot of little things I need to make sure that are done so that we don't run into any larger problems down the track. However, like, this is a big step and I'm super excited because, like, oh man, it literally just looks so good. I'm like, I should have bought an S13 rather than a 180 bucks. Alright, so until then, I'll see you guys on the next one.